Hello there. Um, yeah, this was kind of a spur of the moment live stream because need to mute my computer. Yeah, because it's actually been clear here. We've had some rainy weather here in Houston for quite a few days. I mean, before that, we had the um, Hurricane Beryl in, gosh, how long ago was that? Early July. And once we got power back on, it's been pretty much raining just about every day. A lot of cloud cover, but not rain every day, but definitely cloud cover. And so it's been kind of not very conducive to observing. But tonight is completely clear, it looks like. Let's see. Oh, let's see. There. Yeah, you can see the completely clear skies, which is great. Um, Hi there. It's been how are you? Um, yeah. So it's we're getting. Thanks for joining. Yeah. So this is going to be a little bit of an experiment today. I've showed the Seestar kind of web interface. I shouldn't say web Seestar. The third party, the Seestar ALP, which is open source project to provide kind of a uh, like an ASCOM alpaca kind of standard interface for the Seestar, so you can control it using software like um, Stellarium or other software. Now there's a web interface that was built, and it's been kind of undergoing rapid development. And as part of that, people are run it on their Windows computers, on their Macs, their Linux computers. Initially, it kind of required being able to install. You had to install developer tools, which if you have a computer that where you do development, it's not a problem. But if you don't, it's a lot of stuff with on Windows, you'd have to install VS Code and some or VS Code, maybe not VS Code, Visual Studio. Um, so as part of and so like there's a bundled version, an executable version, and some people are running it on Raspberry Pis, so that way they can close their computer and still use the web interface to kind of control their Seestars. And that's what I'm actually going to do today. There's other people who have there's some scripts that are now in the project that let you set up the controller, the software on your Raspberry Pi. But as you let me show, where is the overhead? Is this the overhead? Yeah. This is live. Hi. Hi. This is actually the Raspberry Pi today that I am going to be using to run the Seestar controller. It's actually, instead of installing Raspberry Pi OS, I mean, if you're not familiar with these are just little single board computers. They're fairly cheap. This is a Raspberry Pi 4. Costs like $50 or so. Uses a USB power. Not necessarily a completely standard compliant. I'm using kind of their power brick, but and it has a let me see if I can move this without causing it to crash. The operating system's installed on a micro SD card, and so what we had been doing, or what some people have been doing, is they'll set up they'll install the Raspberry Pi OS and then run the script that will set up the services. But in the interest of, if you don't want to mess around with it, this one is running an image, a Raspberry Pi image, and I'll probably create a video on that. But basically, you just download the image, download the Raspberry Pi software or imaging software if you've never and then I just put the SD card in my computer, wrote it out, plugged it in, powered it up. There's some configuration you can set, like on my Mac. It'll kind of burn it into the image, and then it's up and running, and we can see it over here. I have both of my Raspberry Pis online, and the DNS kind of didn't work. Originally it was set to ssc.local, but I had to type in the IP address. I need to figure out why that kind of went away. Might just be a quirk of my network. But yeah, this little device is kind of generating this web interface. So my laptop doesn't need to be running to be able to run this. You could control it from a phone or whatever. But yeah, so this is what we'll be using today. Oh, we might have a slight problem here today. We might have a problem today. I've never actually done this before, but the problem is I was having an issue connecting to the Seestar, both of my Seestars with my phone, but yet this controller had no problem doing it. So this might be an issue if I can't actually get this to work. So I'm gonna go, which one am I working on? This is Seestar B, which is on this, it's this, the one on the left that has the dew shield. So we'll see if this even works. I'm gonna only run it for a minute, or total session time of a minute, maybe, and gain of 80. And I don't even know if this will work, honestly. Because normally what I've done is I'll set it up ahead of time, and let me start the schedule. Okay. You can see it's, oops. Let's see if I can bring it onto this screen. Oops. It's doing a go-to from the interface. And if I look at the all sky camera, I can see it should start updating this one on the left. Hi Tariq. I'm fine. How are you? It's been a while, but thanks for joining. Yeah, it's very early there for you, isn't it, or very late? So that OS image, it's brand new. Like, I generated it the first time yesterday. This is actually only the first time I've actually tested it out. Oh, you can see this one. This telescope started moving. So hopefully, oh yeah, I think this is Vega, and I think it's pointing at Vega. I can hope so. Let's see what it's doing. Plate solve succeeded. Yes. Plate solve failed. Bad. I sure hope this figures it out. Otherwise, this might be a problem. But yeah, so the OS image is brand new. And no one has actually, like, I created it yesterday, and today is the first time I've actually been able to test it, and I generated a new version of it. So if this seems to be working fine, so I'll probably put it out there. If I don't know if you're on the Discord server, Darwin, but if not, I'll probably update the README on the project, which is the project is like this is the GitHub project, so I will update that with the README once I figure out or once I get the image in a place where people can download it, because the problem is it's a few hundred meg, but okay. But yes, I'll update this README, or if you're on the Discord server for the smart underworld smart telescope project, I'll post it there too. This might, oh, plate solve succeeded. Okay. Auto go to failed. This might be a problem. So let me go try this again. You're very welcome. Like there's basically we're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to kind of get started with it, and there's several different directions, you know, like people who have Raspberry Pis, people who have Windows, Mac OS, and just trying to make it as, you know, it's still a relatively new project, especially the web interface. It's only a few weeks old, and so but it's iterating pretty quickly. So let me see. Let me try scheduling the other one. This could end up being kind of maybe just looking at the web interface and then not being able to actually do anything. So I'm going to go ahead and I switched to the other telescope. I have two Seestars, and so I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Now this is going to be the kind of the other telescope. But yeah, it's weird because normally when I had the controller, this software you see on the screen, which I'm just looking at, kind of like, you don't have to really look at that. That's just kind of the logs. But normally when I run this, I was able to connect to it with my phone, and I haven't updated the phone app, so I know nothing has changed, but for some reason I can't connect, and I'm not sure why. I might, if this ends up being a complete bust, I might end up kind of stepping away, like switching to the all sky camera, and then you can see me go downstairs and maybe reboot the Seestars and see if that helps. Let's go to the all sky. Now it should be kind of, this one should be trying to find Vega. And I'm not sure if it's, let's see what the logs. Really, we should probably put this in the web interface. Oh, this one had, oh, this one did. See, I don't get it. Like one of the Seestars, I mean, I have two different Seestars. They're on similar tripods, but consistently one of them has better luck with kind of the horizontal calibration. So this one is good to go, which is good. So at least I'll be able to do something with this one. So let me just go back to the, I ended up starting the stream just a little late. Not late, but like 2 minutes after I had planned on starting it, because I was kind of preoccupied with looking at stellarium to find targets for tonight. So this telescope, Seestar A, succeeded. It was able to take a photo, a 1-minute photo of Vega. So that means all the steps of horizontal calibration and stuff succeeded. Now it still says the scheduler is running. The scheduler is just what in the software goes from target to target or does weights or whatever, delays. So I'm going to stop this because it's not running anymore, or it doesn't need to be running. Did I actually stop it? Okay, it stopped. Did it? Huh. Weird. Okay, let me clear the schedule. Okay, the schedule's cleared. One of the things that I may not have demoed before that is a very recent addition. Well, there's a few new features. There's also been some like kind of usability improvements. Like the screen has been cleaned up, so it's a little bit more visually clean. Very like the other day, a new contributor added a simple change that gives this like the free storage a more human readable number instead of just like a long number. It actually says how many gig, and if you're running really low, it'll switch automatically to meg, which is really cool. So that was a brand new addition. What else? Just a variety of kind of cleaning up things. Like when you look up a target now, like Vega, how I just looked it up, it will pre-fill. It was pre-filling the right ascension and declination, but it wasn't checking the J2000, which is the coordinate system that these coordinates are in, and it's important that that's checked or you'll be slightly off, which has happened on some previous live streams. What other things? Oh, there's now, I don't know if I showed this or not, but there's a commands, the screen. These are based on all the various commands that are in the API. The startup sequence where you saw where the telescopes were kind of pointing up, I ran the startup sequence on both of them. And so it kind of unparked itself and pointed up at the sky. And I was able to put the dew filter on the one. You can force autofocuses or turn, you can force a plate solve, turn off on and off the dew heater. And this is just kind of a repeat, but just for a specific. Oh, settings is another new screen. This is a big one. It lets you customize your dither, the amount the telescope will move. You can change a bunch of different things that you cannot change in the app, but are accessible through the Seestar's internal API. And so, yeah, it's pretty cool. You can disable calibration, stack mosaic. One thing that's kind of cool, you can turn on save discrete OK frames. Oh no, that's not the one. Basically, you can save the rejected frames, which is pretty cool. Because by default, the Seestar does not do that. Which I'm actually going to do right here. So I changed save discrete frame. It includes the failed subframes, because sometimes you might be able to get some extra data from it. I mean, or you can at least see why it's failing. I'm going to leave the dither settings alone because I don't know which ones were reasonable, like what values are reasonable. I know some people change the pixel number down from 50. And see, there's helpful information that settings reset on reboot. So I'm just going to save this feature, this setting, and yeah, so you can see set settings. So it set all the settings. Yeah, settings updated successfully. So this is a new screen. It lets you, it really gives you more control over the Seestar internals, which is really nice. Commands is relatively new. Oh, and of course a huge one is import and export. So as we can go, let me switch to the other telescope, and you can see there's a schedule here that I need to clear out, but let me export that. I'll export it and see it downloaded it, and let me find that. Where did it download it? Let me see where it downloaded that. Oh, okay. I have, the browser ends up doing, it's complicated, never mind. Basically, what is that? It tries to be, I have the browser set up to, I'm running a browser that it renames the files that are downloaded. So even though I specified the file, it didn't, it picked a different name. So you can see, right here, here's the CSV file that it downloaded the schedule, and it just has like start mosaic, Vega, true, and the true is J2000. And this is false and false for the use light pollution, and you do autofocus. So yeah, so this is kind of handy if you want to run the same schedule on multiple nights and multiple telescopes. If you make a mistake, you can export the schedule, edit it like in Excel or whatever, make sure it's saved back as a CSV, and then you can go into the interface and re-import it. And so that's kind of really handy. Like, as a matter of fact, I can do that right now. Let me clear the schedule. I can go import. Let me import this. Downloads. So you don't have to see all of my junk of downloads. So I grabbed the file that I had just exported, and see there's no schedule here. And so if I click import, boom, it's back in place. So that just shows where you can, it gives you a lot of flexibility. Or like I say, especially if you're running the same schedule over multiple nights, or you want to make some adjustments, this is a very powerful mechanism to just, and yet it was fairly straightforward. It was without getting into like a very complicated UI of being able to kind of edit things, although that is in the works as well, to be able to edit within the UI. So I'm going to clear this schedule out because we don't need this, and plus this is on the telescope that is not in a good place. So now let me go look at, I had started coming up with a list of targets to look at tonight, and what was interesting is I realized I'm missing, I mean, I have 60, I've been taking photos of different Messier objects, and I haven't put all of them here. I've actually taken photos of like 61 Messier objects or more. But like, you know, here's one of the Lagoon Nebula, and these circles of like what the specific target are. These are something I did myself, but like here you can see the Trifid Nebula, and then NGC 6531. Anyway, this is my website that I've been kind of slowly building, but I've taken photos of 61 Messier objects, and I realized there's a few tonight that I haven't imaged yet, so that's definitely on the agenda. So let me go back to this, and let me see. Where did I have on my list? Okay. And actually, because this took so long to get up and running, let me actually do IC 4587. I was wanting to look up the blaze star, take a photo of the blaze star again, just because I think we would have heard if it had gone nova, but I'm just kind of trying to kind of keep an eye on it. And let's see, I'm just gonna go ahead and start this mosaic. Actually, let me look at one of the ones I wanted to look at was M39, and that should be visible, and that is an open cluster, so that usually I don't do too long of an exposure with those. M52 is maybe a little iffy. M103, that's definitely not going to happen at this point, so maybe in a little bit. M32 now, so those are going to be later. Those targets are going to be later. Let me check M6. And this kind of outline is this is my horizon, which I kind of mapped out, which you can see how badly obstructed my sky is. M7. Okay, that's obstructed. Oops. M18. Where is that? No, that's not visible yet. So I think the only ones were M39 and M52. Oops. 52. Yeah, okay. So we'll do those two to start with. And what I'm going to do, like, you can schedule wait untils. So I could say pause until 10:30, and then it'll run, and you can have these wait untils kind of sprinkled throughout your schedule. So you could, and that's what regular one of the, and he's also worked on the web interface a lot. Wiley site, he's on vacation this week, but like when he does schedules, he has like, a dozen different targets, and he'll run them for half an hour each, or just under half an hour, and he'll have wait untils every half hour. So that way, if the target fails, like if the fourth target fails, or fourth and fifth targets fail, it won't immediately go to the next one. Because if you have a bunch of objects in a row, and one of them, if like a few of them fail, like maybe clouds or whatever, it'll start just burning through the schedule, which you probably don't want, especially if you've figured it out where certain objects are only visible at certain times. So we're going to do the blaze star, and then I am going to do, because these targets are all visible right now, I'm just going to schedule them kind of sequentially, and I'm going to start the schedule immediately once I set it up. So I'm going to do maybe 600 seconds, gain 80. Okay, and then I'm going to do M52. Okay, and the settings are the same. And so I think this looks good. I'm just going to go ahead and, now one thing that's kind of high on my list to implement is I keep switching to the logs because you can't, the interface doesn't show which schedule item it's running. So the only way to see that is to look at the logs. And in this case, I'm actually SSH'd into this, into the, sorry, my overhead camera went to sleep, but basically, I'm logged in to this thing. So this SSH that you see here, this is kind of running on this little box, this little board. So let me go ahead and start the schedule, and it'll just get to work. And see, you can see it's starting to go. Like I say, the only, oh, that is cool. Dang it. Oops. Oh, it was gone. I have another screen up where I was looking at the all sky camera, and I think a jet went through the field of view because I saw a very bright line. So this is running. Actually, let me look this up in Stellarium. I want to see if 4587. Oh man. What? Uh-oh. It might already be too late to see it. Oh well. It'll fail and then it'll just move on to the next one. So that's okay. Since I was having some difficulties. Yeah, see. Now this line here is a roof line, and it's not necessarily 100% accurate. So it might be visible, but let's see. It says plate solve failed, so that's not encouraging. Yeah, I need to figure out why I can't bring up the display for the telescope in the app. Sorry, I'm just plugging in my phone so you can see how the plate solving is failing. So I think that's obstructed. Hello, Red Angel. Sometimes I have a hard time parsing people's names, but so you can see right here, I'm trying to connect through the interface or through the app, and it just keeps timing out. And it's strange because I even went just before the stream started, I went downstairs and I stood next to the telescope, and it did the Bluetooth connection, then it connected to the telescope's Wi-Fi, and then it wouldn't connect. And I know there's a limit. I think there's a limit of only 2 devices can connect to a Seestar at the same time. Maybe I imagined that, but I thought there was like a limit. So maybe I'm running another copy of the app somewhere that I didn't realize, and so it's tying up both connections. I'm not sure, but it's very frustrating because I can't really view what I'm taking a photo of. Although I did earlier, I'm able to connect to one of the Seestars through its network drive. It kind of exposes it exposes its internal storage as like a share, and so I connected to it, and I'm not sure which one this is. It's kind of slow. This is like a perennial problem I have with my Wi-Fi. Oh, okay. So this did take a photo of Vega. So this is the right one, which is good. So potentially I should be able to view I shouldn't. It's only 500K, but it's really slow. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's Vega. Cool. So this is the good thing is the telescope I'm connected to is the one that's actually calibrated and taking photos. So, yeah, so this failed. The first target IC4587 failed, and now it's moving on to M39. So hopefully that will not fail. It should be visible. And the one that's working is this one on the right. So let me take a brief. Oh, yeah. So you can see it moved. I need to get a better camera that gives a better real-time view, because this one is, I mean, it's great for doing time lapses, but I kind of want to be able to more real-time monitor the telescopes, and at some point I'm probably going to buy one. Yeah, and this is the direction I expected it to go. It's kind of more towards the northeast, I think, the specific target, and so that's kind of that direction. Like this camera is mostly facing up, but more eastward. What are you talking about? What was that? Red Angel. Yeah. So wait for versus wait until. That's a good question. I think, like, yeah, wait for is relative, but the problem that Wiley's site was trying to work around is, and it's a good approach. The problem is, if you just want to kind of put a delay between things, that's fine, but it's a relative delay, but that is contingent on the target succeeding. So if it'll try to plate solve, and so a little more context. Wiley site so Wiley site's another. He, like I say, he's often on the channel on the live streams, but he's on vacation this week. But he and I both live in Bortle 9 locations, and so and it can be kind of light polluted and hazy, or maybe we're kind of, because we're in suburban or urban areas, we're trying to kind of, sometimes we get it wrong as far as if a target is actually visible or if it's obstructed by a tree. And so if you get it wrong and it fails the plate solve, it immediately fails and goes to the next one. So if you were going to image a target for half an hour or 25 minutes, if you did a relative pause of 5 minutes, the problem is if that target fails, it'll just immediately go to that pause of 5 minutes, which if you have a couple in a row, because like if clouds come through, you could have several failures in a row, like over an hour, you could end up moving through the schedule too quickly and start getting to targets that aren't visible yet. Like for me, for example, M31, I can't see it until after 1 in the morning. Like, it's behind buildings. And so I would put a wait just before that, a wait until of 1 a.m. because otherwise, if a bunch of targets in a row failed, it could start going all the way to the M31 and that'll fail too. So you won't get anything. So that kind of maximizes your chances of success. Now, it does look kind of strange because you'll have a bunch of, you have 6 targets and 6 wait fors, which if all things worked correctly, you wouldn't necessarily even need those, because you could put each target, like, really, like, have a very little time between them. But because I think part of the problem is because we live in borderline locations, we tend to have high failure rates. I don't know if other people have the same kind of failure rates, but we definitely will have high failure rates. Like this one on the left here, it didn't even it wasn't even able to properly lock on Vega, which is kind of insane. But this one was able to do it. So let me go back and look at the. So played, solved, succeeded. So M39 should be in progress. So I should be able to look at this. Yeah, is this? Wait a second. Well, greetings, Red Angel. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. But yeah, so this seems to be working, and this is yeah, this is M39. So let me go look here. Is this what it's imaging? Oh, I guess I did image M39 before. Just it was a few weeks. It was a couple weeks ago. But let's see if I can pull up the subframes without taxing this connection. It's definitely. I mean, the problem is, for those who haven't been on the stream before, the telescopes are outside. I'm inside, and both of the telescopes are connected to the same network. They're running in station mode, so they're connected to my Wi-Fi that my computer here is connected to. But because they're kind of far, the connection's a bit weak, and so, like if I had my laptop directly connected to them downstairs, it wouldn't be this slow. So these were from the 15th. That was that previous imaging session. So theoretically, if this would finish loading, it is not happy. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah. So see, here's some new subframes. So it's taking these right now, which if my connection was better, we could be monitoring it real time, which is on my list of things to do. Probably before I get a better camera, a real-time camera out in the backyard to watch the telescopes. I definitely want to redo the wireless so I don't have this kind of lag. So I'm just going to go back to here. But yeah, so this one's doing 10 minutes of M39, and that 10 minutes that you set in the schedule, or that I set in the schedule, that is for the entire, the 600 seconds, that's for the entire session when it's looking at the target. So if you have a lot of failures, like rejected frames, that counts. Which actually reminds me, let me look at the, because that was one of the settings I turned on through the web interface, was to save the rejected frames, which normally the Seestar does not save those. And my file explorer is not happy with me, so I'll have to wait. Maybe it'll pop back. But yeah, so that so if half the frames fail, it's not going to try to get 10 minutes of good data. It's going to spend 10 minutes on the target, and if half your frames are bad, it's going to move on after 10 minutes. But because this is an open cluster, usually I don't spend too much time on those, because you get some nice effects with a few minutes if it's just a cluster of stars. I've gone a little bit more deep in I mean, this one has some artifacts that I need to clean up, but like these were from a couple of weeks ago, like this wild duck cluster. This one turned out pretty nice. I was pretty happy with that. Um, and this is actually just an open cluster. You know, it's a pretty dense open cluster. It's almost like like you'd almost think it was like a globular cluster, a small globular, but it's not. M13. This one was probably how much data was this? I don't know. I think this was over an hour of data. And like this one was hour and a half of data. There's some artifacts from all the light pollution. I need to try to reprocess this. But part of the reason I spent so much time on this particular globular cluster is I was trying to get these targets. Like this one is really hard to see. Like this dot here, that's a quasar that's is 11 billion light years away, I think. NGC, the NGC target, this little galaxy here is 195 million light years away, but the quasar is actually there were two quasars in this image, but this quasar is 11 billion light years away. And because otherwise you don't necessarily need to take a hour and a half exposure of a globular cluster. It's kind of diminishing returns. Let's see. Okay, see the 10 minutes was done. And so now it's moving on to M52, which is another open cluster. Now this one, I'm not sure if it'll actually succeed because that one was a little lower in the sky. Okay, this finally came back. I'm afraid to click on this, but we can look at what it imaged. Yeah, it's okay. It seems a little off center, like maybe, I don't know, but that's okay. Actually, what did it look like the last time I imaged it? Okay, it's the same. So this was from 2 weeks ago. I imaged the same target. They look pretty much the same. Similar result. Although the conditions were better this time. There's no moon right now. The moon is 41 degrees below the horizon, 31 degrees below the horizon. Yeah, see this just takes a long time. Nope, sorry. Bouncing around here. Actually, that's not even what I was going to look at. I was going to look at the logs. But this is kind of high on my list of things to improve is being able to tell through the web interface, so you don't have to like log into Raspberry Pi, or if you're running it on your local computer, you don't have to log in, or look at the logs. You can just do everything through the web interface. But like I say, it's going through a lot of rapid development, so that's good. And if you know how to code, join the Discord, and there's issues in the GitHub that I posted this GitHub project. If you're a developer, like I say, we take contributions. M11. What time to capture M11? That's a great question. Let me look that up. In Stellarium. Okay. Actually, it should be visible now. It's a little iffy for me because it's towards the southeast, but this particular direction, it should be visible for me, but it's visible now. And actually, we can go, actually, this isn't even the current time. Okay, that's the current time. So yeah, that should be visible. And if you go, it looks like it's visible almost all night. Like, Let me, unfortunately my horizon's kind of messed up, but yeah, this W is the horizon. So it looks like it would set at like 5 in the morning. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. Let me put my horizon back on. There we go. But yeah, it should be visible. Which actually reminds me, speaking of things that are only going to be visible in the morning, I'm going to do a video about it. But in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from Wednesday, there's going to be a conjunction of Mars and Jupiter. They're going to be very close to each other in the sky, and that's going to be in the morning. Pretty sure it's in the morning. So if you look at Mars, and let's move it to the morning. No, in the morning. So like, let me get rid of my horizon because that's. So this is tomorrow morning. And if I turn on the field of view, you can see this is simulating the Seestar's field of view, which is fairly compact. But if you go forward a few days, see around the 12th, and then at the closest is going to be on the 14th in the morning. And so, actually, let me see. When do they rise? It rises. Does it rise at 2 in the morning? Anyway, yeah, so in the morning they should be very close to each other, like not even the distance, not even the size of the moon apart from each other. So that's something to kind of look out for. And they'll be getting kind of closer to each other over the next few days. And then the closest will be on the 14th, the morning of the 14th. So that'll be pretty cool. Like a few years ago, Jupiter and Saturn got very like similarly close to each other, and that was pretty cool. Like you could see photos of the two of them like really close to each other. Like you can get an idea of how close Mars and Jupiter are going to be. Like these are two of the moons of Jupiter. So Mars is going to be not that much further away from Jupiter as Jupiter's own moons, like apparently in the sky. They're really like a few 100 million miles apart from each other, but in the sky they'll be really close, which will be really cool. I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah. Yeah, so the closest will be, I think, on that 14th or 15th. I think it's on the 14th. The morning of the 14th is the closest. Yeah. But they'll be close for about a day, pretty close. So that's something to keep an eye out for, and hopefully we'll have clear skies here. I mean, I'm tempted. If we end up having a patch of cloudy skies, I may end up driving somewhere just to see that and do some other things too, because having it's kind of a drag sometimes. But so. Let's see if this is still going. So M52 is still imaging. That's good. Now, other things. I always love it when I bring up the emoji keyboard. Let me search for that target. One thing I want to check is the subsequent targets that I had written down. So we did M39, M52. Let me see if at this point if M103 is close. Oops. Okay, that's another open star cluster. Let me turn off the... Oh, it's close. It's very close. M103 might be visible. M32. Nope. M6. Nope. Oh, actually. Oh, I forgot. In a completely different direction. I think I'm going to do some more of the Eagle Nebula. I might be able to get the Eagle Nebula, which is... Have I done the Eagle on this one? Yes, I have. So... Oh, did I delete? I cleared this out, so the directory's still there, but yeah, the Eagle Nebula is, I'll do that after this is finished. Oh, and that's the one that has the famous Hubble image. It's an area in the center of the Eagle Nebula. Now, you don't get that kind of framing. This is what you see in the Seestar, not this bright usually. And that kind of this area here is this bit in the center. But yeah, that's the target I think I'll do next. Yeah, I'll do that. But let me see what else there was. There was Eagle Nebula, which I had on my list of targets to revisit, mostly because, as you can see, I have this narrow kind of canyon between two buildings, and so I can only image some of these targets for like, half an hour or an hour tops. So I'm definitely going to try the Eagle. Let me see what else. I may try to get more of the Trifid Nebula. Let's see. See this one, it's even more. Can I even see that yet? See, I can't even see that. Or it might barely, yeah, I think it's just now starting to show up behind this building. Like this is a roof. So yeah, let me try M16, which is the Eagle Nebula. And I'll do that for maybe 20 minutes. And then I'll do M20 for, if I do this for 20 minutes, if I do the Eagle until maybe, yeah. So if I do the Eagle until almost 11, I can then do the Trifid Nebula M20 for about 30 minutes. Actually, more than 30 minutes. I mean, I can let it go, and even if it ends up behind this building, it'll just start failing frames, so that's fine. So maybe I'll do M20. And then I'll do that for, maybe I'll do for a full 30 minutes. And then I might be able to do, oops. Maybe then M32? No, that's still obstructed. M6, definitely not. M18. I'm not as, I mean, I want to get some of these open clusters just for the sake of completeness, but which one was this? M22. I might be able to do M22 around, yeah, so I'll do that one then afterwards. I'll do it for 15 minutes. And then I have a list, but I'm trying to work out oops, I turned on the Milky Way, which is fine. Yeah, like I say, the open clusters, I'm usually not as, if I don't get them, I don't get them. M25, M26. maybe that'll be another night. I might have another clear sky in on Wednesday here. So I might do another live observing stream on Wednesday. And hopefully, well, I shouldn't say hopefully, I'm going to absolutely positively try to sort out why I can't bring up the app, because it would be nice to be able to monitor what it's doing besides going in and looking at the files. So let's look at this. Oh, it finished. It finished M52. So I should be able to actually go look at, wait, was it M52? Oh, you know why? The ones the Seestar does by default have a space in it, but when I schedule it through the app, I don't end up putting a space in there, and so this is what it did tonight. What it just finished of M52. It's thinking about it. I'm going to take a drink while it thinks about it. I really need to figure out a way to work out the Wi-Fi. I know, what was it? I think. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's nice. Definitely an open cluster. Little cluster of stars there. That's cool. So that worked. So yeah, that works. So let's move on. So if I go back to the web interface, you can see, again, no feedback, but we know it's done with the schedule. So I'm just going to clear the schedule and start a new one. Now, like I say, if I had better skies, or not better skies, a better horizon that wasn't so obstructed, I would probably just schedule a whole bunch of things and just let it run. But because things are so obstructed for me, I kind of do it piecemeal sometimes like this. Now, how long did I say I was going to do this? I think I'm going to do it 20 minutes. And the gain is generally 80. Some people use other values. I want to use the light pollution filter because it's a nebula. So, or particularly an emission nebula. So let's look up M20. I'm going to do it immediately afterwards. I'll do that for, this is the Trifid Nebula. And then M22. Oops, did not mean to do that. Oops. What is M22? Is that a globular? Sorry, I drew a blank real quick. M22. Okay, is a globular. So theoretically, this is okay, but I didn't want to do this for 1800, so let's try this. I'm going to go, what was it, July 29. I'm going to export the schedule. I'm going to edit this. There we go. I'm editing this off screen. So what do I not like about this one? Oh, the J2000. I didn't type J2000. Actually, this is wrong. I typed M22 and I didn't do the lookup, and so this isn't even the right. It's still the coordinates for M20. So let me clear this schedule, and I'm gonna import. Oops. I'm gonna import the new one. Oops, did not mean to do that. Like I say, I have a really cluttered downloads directory, so I'm not going to subject you to that. July July, where is the file? July 29th. Okay. So what I did is I exported it. I brought the CSV into a file and just, I mean, I could have re-entered it probably quicker, but I basically deleted the bad M22 line and then re-imported it. So let's do this again correctly. I'll do this, and then I'm going to do 15 minutes. So this is all correct now. 15 minutes, which is 900 seconds. 80, and I don't need to use light pollution filter because it's a globular cluster. Okay, so this is right, and I'm going to go ahead and just start that. And we should be able to watch it because this is going to start pointing to the right because the targets I'm pointing at now are more towards the south, so it's going to point towards the right. But again, because it's like delayed half a minute or 15 seconds supposedly, but there, see, you can see the blur because it's starting to move. Yeah. So, and the thing that does give feedback, as you can see, it's working. Now all the targets I just entered should work. They should be visible, so we'll see. And again, this Raspberry Pi down here is what's running all this. So far, so good. One thing that was just committed to the was just added to the project is an update script. So it should, going forward, even if you do this image and kind of put it on your Raspberry Pi, you still have to remotely log into the Raspberry Pi. You can't do it through the web interface yet, but it should allow you to at least, it's more straightforward to update a little bit. Yeah, that's a good point. No, well, this web interface doesn't currently, but as I was entering the numbers, I was thinking that, because if you look at kind of the schedule itself, it's like these are, it takes a bunch of different formats for the sky coordinates. Like you can do decimal degrees, you can do the normal hour, minute, seconds for right ascension. But that's a very good point. So let me see if I have, am I logged in on this account? Yes, I am. So let's create an issue. Allow support other, what was it? Support more flexible time input for images, mosaics, because those are the places where you enter time. The user should be able to, this is like from years of working in IT about like having user stories, should be able to enter minutes, seconds, or even hours, minutes, seconds, instead of having to enter seconds. Just seconds. Anyway, yeah. So whenever people make suggestions on Discord, they're on the Discord server for this project, which I'm just a contributor. I didn't start this project, but I try to create issues whenever people bring up things, and because some people, what do you call it? Like some people have contributed bigger things, and some people have contributed very useful smaller things, and so by just putting everything in there, then it just things like this Raspberry Pi image, I built it, but I was leveraging a script that was already checked in, or some scripts that were checked in by some other people. that were, if you already have a Raspberry Pi set up with an operating system, it would help set up this kind of configure things. I just kind of took that and baked it into an image. But yeah, thanks for the suggestion. So this is how we're doing things. We just kind of, some of it's kind of solving our own problems, or making it kind of more straightforward. And yeah, like as I was when you mentioned it, True Freedom, I was like typing in the seconds. So I'm like, this there should be a better way to do this. So now somebody will hopefully, or not hopefully, somebody will add that at some point, because I'm sure it bothers other people too. Because it's normally you don't think in terms of seconds. I mean, like, I have to think about it where I'm like, 15 minutes. And it's only because I've done that one a number of times. Whereas, like, if you told me to, like, an arbitrary one, like, like 17 minutes, I'd probably use the calculator app on my phone. Okay, so this succeeded. And this is M16, which is the first one, so that's good. It was able to find M16, and it's starting to image it, which is fantastic. M16. Oh, and see, because this one I hadn't imaged on this telescope before, it only has the subframe directory right now because it hasn't finished an exposure. Once it's finished it, it'll create the M16 directory and put like these kind of images in there, the stacked images. Actually, that's a good point. I don't have one up here in this room, but yeah, if you have like an Alexa or a Siri, actually, I mean, I have a Siri, and I have done that before, where you just kind of, if you don't have a calculator handy, sometimes it's just really easy to ask. Siri. But yeah, so this is M16. I could, if I look at this, it'll take a little bit of time, but I should start seeing subframes in here. Yeah, so this is what it's imaging right as we speak. And so 66 items. I should see this count go up by 3 because there's a thumbnail, a full-size JPEG, and a FIT file. So theoretically, this should update. Of course, it doesn't. What do you call it? This Finder isn't necessarily kind of just rechecking things, so maybe it won't update immediately. But yeah, these are all the different sub-exposures it's taking. I shouldn't do this. I should use the thumbnails because they're so much smaller. But yeah, so that it's starting on the first one. And this is, I mean, it's only a 10-second exposure, so you're not going to see much. I mean, you can kind of see some of the nebulosity there. Yeah, I really need to fix this Wi-Fi. I say it every time. Because the problem is it's easy to say it, but like I say, it's on the first floor, and there is an Ethernet jack kind of in a room that's near that, and I'm gonna have to drill a hole through the wall, through an outside wall, which I'm gonna have to do it. But the other problem is that jack isn't even like, the house was like a earlier 2000s house, and so they put in kind of the cabling, but they didn't necessarily, like, they set it up for phones or something, and so it isn't like patched correctly on the other end. So I'm gonna have to fix that. which it's been a few years since I did that. So I have to do that, drill holes through the wall, run a network cable outside, maybe put an outdoor access point out there, which I know some people do that. But so yeah, this is a 10-second exposure, but you can see that it's that eagle kind of shape is, it's faint, but you can kind of see it. Yeah, it's delayed on the zoom, but you can see kind of a little bit, a little fuzzy. But once it's stacked, oh yeah, I guess it was delayed, but now you can see it's up to 96 frames, so it's still kind of plugging away. So that's good. And so this will go once it's done with M16. One other thing about these logs, they have different log levels, and I have this info level, so it just kind of shows some things. It used to be that it would log kind of the conversation between the Seestar, which is just kind of this. It looks like this message, this line, but more so. But I ended up making a debug information so it doesn't show up unless you really want it, because it's a lot of it. It just clutters up the logs. Otherwise, it's helpful if you're trying to develop the software, but it's not so helpful when you're just kind of keeping an eye on things. So after this is done, so this started about 11 minutes ago, and it's a 20-minute thing. So in a few more minutes, it'll finish up. Like I say, being able to see what item it's on would be really helpful. I created an issue for that because personally, I don't want to have to go to the logs if I don't need to, but that's almost the only way if you're curious which item it's on, especially if you just have them like one after the other. Like it's another if you actually have those wait fors or wait untils, then you can exactly where it should be. But yeah, at some point, I think we'll have to figure out how to even do it. But maybe, yeah, because one thing we've talked about, we being me and like Wiley Site and some others, is figuring out how to edit the schedule through the web interface. Like you can effectively do it by exporting and re-importing it, but we'd like to be able to, just click on an item and edit this. But it's not that easy the way it kind of is written internally. But I wonder, if there was some kind of identifier, some label for each one of these internally, and then not only could you maybe edit it then, but then it could also, like, it wouldn't be something you'd see on the front end, but that it would tell the web interface saying, oh, this is the one that I'm currently running. Like I'm currently running this one. And then we could highlight it in the web interface. I'll have to think about that, because that would be, that's ultimately what I want, or what would be handy. I think for everybody. I'm going to have another sip. Oh, and thanks for joining. If you're new, please feel free to like and subscribe the video, or like the video, subscribe if you aren't already. I do these when it's clear, at least once or twice a week. I don't want to do it too often, because I need to get back into making more normal or produced videos instead of just live streams. Like for the last couple months, I've made very few videos. I've only done live streams, but I try. My goal is not to be purely live stream, which is one of the reasons why I'm streaming this also to Twitch right now because I started I'm it started off as an experiment, and I might start streaming like if the weather is amazing, like here in the winter, we tend to have better seeing, better transparency in the sky. Um, so we'll have kind of a front come through, and we'll have several days in a row that can be really, really good. And my my thought was, in those kind of situations, I'm not necessarily going to want to do 5 live streams, but I might be out 5 nights observing. And so I might go ahead and kind of do maybe a couple of live streams on YouTube and then do the others just on Twitch. It's an experiment. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Since I have it set up where I can do both at the same time, or one or the other. So I don't know. I haven't figured out how exactly I'm going to do it. Anyway, yeah, so this actually should be, it's not quite done yet, but if it started this in about 3-4 minutes, it should be done. And then it'll move on to M20, which I'm looking forward to that. M20, I like M20, the Trifid Nebula. Like this, this is one of the last times I was able to image this. It's a nice bright target, and plus you get this open cluster in the same frame, NGC 6531. So it's kind of nice. And this wasn't that long of an exposure, I don't think. Oh, I guess it was. It was 51 minutes, longer than I thought. But I want to take more, spend more time on this target, so then I can kind of add it to this image, because I'll process them all together. And I need to get back. I had a live stream. I think it was like a week ago or more, when I was having all the rain and I wasn't able to do any observing. I did a live stream where I was kind of demoing the development version of Cyril, which theoretically they have kind of daily builds of it, but in practice the one for the Mac didn't work. So I ended up downloading the code on a Linux computer and built it. And so I was demoing that a week ago, and I need to get back to that because it has some new implementation of Drizzle, an actual implementation of Drizzle that I want to spend more time on, to try to make some of these images even better. I just haven't had the time to really focus on it, but my goal is to, as I build out all these image galleries of things I've taken with the Seestar, I want to kind of reprocess things as I've either gotten more data or as I've kind of changed my workflow. Because initially I was more or less only doing Cyril based processing, but now I use Graxpert a lot. Yeah, so this website is something I built for myself. I'm not sure exactly why I did that, but like a lot of people use Astrobin to upload some of their astronomy images, but I think you have to pay for, I don't know if they have a free level. Do they have a free level? They only have a free trial. I mean, it's not a terrible, I mean, it's $22 a year. But I mean, but you're kind of, I mean, it's one of those things where you kind of are a little restricted, but Astrobin's cool. A lot of people use Astrobin. That's the one where people posted, and it does kind of, it'll show, it's a similar it's a much more thorough version of what I've done here, where I kind of implemented this myself. What I did, I wrote this all myself. I mean, I took the images and I have it like in some file where I kind of describe what the image is, but it was all done by hand. Now, this part of it, I actually uploaded the image into this what was it? Astrometry? No, not astroberry. What is that even? What was it? Astrometry? Is that it? Yeah, this site. You can actually upload images into here, and it'll do the plate solving. So it'll figure out the coordinates or what's in the image, where the image is and what is in the image. And it does it in a kind of, a machine readable format. And it also gives you, so it actually gives you the coordinates. So it's like if the image is 1920 by 1080, it'll say, okay, this circle is centered here and it's this big and it's M20. And this circle is centered here and it's this object. Now, in the case of that M13 with the quasar wasn't actually in the results of what this gave back. Astrometry. I don't know why I always have a hard time with that word. What this gives back, it didn't include the quasar, and so I had to actually manually figure out the coordinates of that. I don't know why I did it, but I did. Yeah, it's like Astrobin does that. And I mean, what I ended up implementing, it kind of, I've been kind of playing around with it. I have it where when you kind of mouse over it, it makes it more visible. And when you mouse off, it's still there, but faint. And I did that partly so it's more obvious that there is something here for you to interact with. Like if you came to this page and you're like, oh, what is this? And then you just kind of naturally move your mouse over and then it shows you like the data. And then the way I have it set up, it's basically I have an image and it has objects on the image, and then an object has a like it kind of, the data is cross-referenced. And again, I wrote it all myself. I don't know. Again, I don't know why. I think it was because I wanted to have kind of a gallery of different things I've done, taken photos of, and I like how on these like astrometry and astrobin, where it'll show you the different objects that are in the picture. And I wanted to be able to do that, because like otherwise you look at this and you're like, well, what is this thing? Like, how else would you do that? Like you could annotate it where you have like arrows and stuff, but I like this technique of having a circle around the object. Like this galaxy here is like really faint and small, but that's because it is 553 million light years away. Again, I could have probably like in this web interface, when I type in like M42, say, it's calling an API, a web service out on the internet, Simbad, which is widely used in a lot of software, a lot of astronomy software, a lot of astronomy websites. It's a public database and API. And it has other information in it besides just the coordinates. We're not using a lot of it, but it has like the object type and there's some other databases too. So I thought about like, it would be nice if it automatically populated the distance to the object. So, that's why I only have like a couple dozen objects in here, even though I've taken photos of hundreds. because there were a few I wanted to get out there first, so I did them by hand. But I think before I do the bulk of them, I'm gonna have to automate it. Um, but yeah, it's very custom to my workflow, and it's still a work in progress. Like my ultimate goal. You've heard it. You'll hear it. You're going to hear it here first. My ultimate goal is, you see how, um, you see how it's like pulling down uh, these images, and I know there are people on the Discord server where they have either PowerShell scripts or shell scripts that they run on their computer, and they have a better connection than I do to the Seestar. They run the script and it'll pull down all the data and all these files off the Seestar and dump them in a directory, and then you can run serial scripts that would automatically stack it. And so at some point, I'd like to get to the point where I can just pull the data off, do the initial processing, the initial stack, because that's the part that I usually do fully automated. The subsequent processing, I sometimes script and sometimes I do by hand, but I'd like to be able to pull it all off. But I also want to do kind of this astrometry, because they have an API, and so you can automatically. I kind of uploaded it through the web interface, but they have an API, so my goal would be to take an image, send it to them. It would send back the annotations, and it would automatically create what I'm using to populate this. So even if I did subsequent processing, like, it'll just make this image look better, but it won't. But like the basic of filling in all this stuff would be done automatically. And that would be very custom to my workflow, but that's kind of the goal, especially, I mean, I've had long stretches of rain and cloudy skies, but if I do start having a bunch of clear skies, I could start generating a lot of photos, and especially with this automation where I know Wiley's site, he lets his run all night. I sometimes I don't, because we get these pop-up rain showers in the evening, but that's less likely as we get into fall and winter here. And since I have two Seestars, I could see myself in a place where I just kick off things. They're running all night, times two, generating a lot of new photos. And so it would be nice to be able to just kind of automate at least the first steps of it, and being able to kind of get it out onto this website that I made. So yeah, that's the goal. That's the dream. We'll see. Yeah, because I definitely need to automate some of this, because doing this by hand, and I want to have, I mean, for other people and also for my own sake, I want the numbers to be correct. Now things start getting kind of, for these kind of objects, it's relatively straightforward. When you start getting into the quasars, that starts getting to be kind of a problem. How many things do I have in this image? Oh yeah, see, like this one had a bunch. That was kind of fun. And all these came back automatically from the astronometry website. How far are some of these? Oh wow. Oh wow, that was further than I realized. Okay, so I see this little dot here. I forgot I had actually imaged. That little dot inside that circle there is 1.1 billion light years away. It's a galaxy. That's crazy. How long? Oh, but this was 4 hours. So this was taken over several nights, like in the spring of the Leo triplet. But part of what motivated me is I get a kick out of, I mean, I'll be imaging targets like these, the Leo triplet, and I like knowing things that are more distant that are in the picture. And the only real way to do that is to upload it into either a astrometry or something like Astrobin that does the same thing, where it'll tell you like things that are in the photo. It'll tell you what the object is, and then I ended up looking it up to realize it was 1.1 billion light years away. That is so cool. Whereas like the foreground galaxies, these the Leo triplet themselves, those are, I didn't even put how far they are. They're not that far. I mean, they're far, but they're not. Oops. They're like, what in the world? Galaxy. I love it when, at least it wasn't anything dodgy. So yeah, it's like 40 million light years away. Compared to 1 billion light years, that's relatively close. But I get a kick out of, again, that's part of what motivated me to kind of go to the extra effort of not just putting the photos up there, but I want to figure out what some of the little faint dots are in the photo. Because the first time I kind of did one by hand, it was, do I even have this one? No, I don't. Oh, maybe. Do I? No, I don't have the photo in here. But I had taken a photo of, oh, maybe I do. Sorry. I'm jumping around. Oops. Yeah. Actually, this is a good one. So this one, this was a photo of NGC 4216 I took again in the spring. And that dot there that I labeled 2024 GY, again, I did that manually because it wasn't returned by astrometry. That's a supernova. Like, this thing is like, I think a foreground star or something. That is a supernova. And it's not labeled here, but or is it IC771? Oops. Well, that has an error. See, again, I don't have everything fully done yet. But yeah, basically I was kind of looking at all these different things, and some of them were obviously galaxies. Like that's obviously a galaxy. This thing, and that's obviously a galaxy, and that was a galaxy, and that's a galaxy. But then like this one, and there was something that was near NGC 4216 that looked to not be a point source. And this was the first image that kind of led me down this rabbit hole where I was looking. It was something that was near this galaxy that appeared to be a galaxy, but it appeared to be much farther away. But it wasn't in a lot of the star catalogs. Like, let me look that up. NGC 4216. It kind of became a bit of an obsession for me. Oops, I keep doing that. NGC 4216. And so if you look at, let me do the deep sky survey. So if I go in here, where was that? Oops, not this one where I want to kind of, yeah, this is what, okay, so this is the galaxy. This is taken by the deep DSS, whatever that stands. So I was looking at this. Come on, stop. I'm trying to pause time here. Okay. So I was looking at this target and I picked up this star here. But then when I looked at it in the stellarium, I could tell it's not a star because it's oblong, and I couldn't find it in uh, some of the catalogs, uh, it was clear it was a galaxy, but I couldn't find it. Like it didn't have an NGC number. It didn't have some of the other common ones, like PGC, didn't have a PGC number. But I looked at this one website that it kind of has some of the bigger catalogs, and I was able to figure it didn't even have a catalog number, but it had a redshift. I was able to look up the object and find its redshift. And from that, I was able to figure out it's 900 million light years away, this thing. And I did get it. It's kind of, you can't necessarily see it. Well, maybe you can. Problem is this overlay. But basically, I think it's this. I think it was this dot that I kind of led me down this rabbit hole of wanting to find kind of all these little things that aren't stars in the image and figure out how far away they are. And then I started deliberately looking for quasars too, because those are relatively bright for their distance. I mean, they're very bright for their distance. So that's where how I ended up kind of with not this image, but the that one I showed of the globular cluster, where it has, no, not this one. It was, oh no, sorry, it's M3. Yeah, M3, where I have this star that's 11 billion light years away. And I do wonder, like, how many of these other things in this image are similarly far away. So yeah, it's become somewhat of an obsession of mine. And in Stellarium, you can, there's other catalogs you can turn on. So if we go pick M3, and let me turn off this one because this one's kind of intensive. But if you look at M3, if I zoom out a bit, no, it auto-completed to M31, M32. M3, when you zoom in, like I have quasars turned on, so you can see right here, this is a quasar. This is the one I took a photo of. And it doesn't even show how far away it is. It just has this redshift, which when you plug that in, you get 11 billion light years away. It was 17th magnitude, so it was kind of a stretch, especially where I live. But that's why this is like an hour and a half of data, because I was really trying to get that. But yeah, kind of, it was kind of an obsession that kind of, what do you call it? An obsession that basically caused me to end up with this workflow. Let's see where we are here. Oh, it's on M20. So let's go back and look. See, I had mentioned that the M16 wasn't there because it hadn't finished, but now it's finished. And so we can see the finished result of the Eagle Nebula as it slowly tries to download half a meg. Oh boy. Actually, when did this start? M20 started it only started 3 minutes ago? Okay. Okay, that's fine. I was just curious on the timing of it. Oh yeah, so look at that. Yeah, that's not bad. So that was 15 minutes, but it only got, this stack only has 79 frames. So that's out of the 900 seconds, it only got 790 seconds. But see, there's that thing that Hubble got, that kind of hand-like thing in the middle. But yeah, and I have more data of this particular target, so I'm gonna combine it with this and try to get even more detail. But now it's working on M20, and so you can just see the subframes here. It doesn't have the stacked version yet because it's not done stacking. But yeah, with a better network connection, you can. Some people are actually, you can point, like Cyril has live stacking, some other software has live stacking. You could just point it at the directory and then stack it kind of outside of the Seestar as it's acquiring images. But yeah, 207. Oh no, that was no. I must be totally misreading this. Oh, I'm confusing myself. Oh, it's because the last update was at 06, but 03, but it's now 23, so it's been going for 20 minutes. That makes more sense. Because I was like, why are there so many frames? That's why. And I confused it again over my slow network connection. So if you load the fit file and select the area of the object of interest and right click over it and select PSF, then the pop-up box will allow you to click details. Okay. I should do that. Yeah, I mean, like, and the new Cyril had some extra, or maybe it was just better functionality, more easily accessible functionality. I recall something like that. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, there's so much functionality in Cyril. I mean, yeah, like a lot of people use PixInsight for some of this processing, but it's so expensive. But Cyril has a lot built in. Like, I feel like I haven't hardly scratched the surface of it. But yeah, I did not mean to do that because now it's just gonna go think about it. So how long? I set M20 to go for half an hour. Oh, that was even worse. M16 I set for 20 minutes. So, and it got 800 minutes or 1200 seconds. It got just under 800 seconds. So a third of the images didn't work. Although some of that might be kind of overhead. So I don't know. But this will go for half an hour total. And it started 22 minutes ago. So in another few minutes, it should be done. And then it'll go on to M22. Yeah. It's too bad I didn't. Yeah. I debated going downstairs and kind of trying to get the second telescope working, but I'm not going to do that. Because I don't even know if I'll be able to get it working. So, I mean, I can see it's scheduler is stopped. It seems fine. Has plenty of space, but it's not running. Whereas this one, it's running fine. Actually, yeah. Okay, so when you click on it, it takes you to Simbad. Right. It has to be plate solved, which Cyril can also do. Then once you know that, you can write, oh, okay, and paste the name, and then it'll be outlined. Okay. wonder. Let me look. Sorry, I'm just like trying to figure out if I have any images that I could actually look at. Actually, you know what we can do? I mean, it's gonna be a problem. But let me see. We were doing M16. Let me get that. That's 12 meg. That is gonna take forever. But I'm gonna try it. Astro photos. Copy. I'm trying to copy an image off the Seestar because I don't have any fit files that I could find on here. We'll see how long this takes, or if it'll even complete. Trying to copy a 12.5 meg file off the Seestar. It's not off to a promising start. 0 bytes of 12.5 meg. Yeah, I really need to fix this network. This is what? Oh, that was, yeah. Did it actually? It actually copied it. That was weird. Like it had to think about it, and then suddenly it's like, oh, I'm done. Let me see if I can recreate that or do this. Let me see. Where is it? Okay. Got change directory to Astro Photos. Okay. Okay. So let's try this. So you said, so I'm going to open the file. So this is my M16. Okay. And it's linear, so if I auto stretch, that looks fine. And so select an area of interest. Let me pick that and right click and PSF. Oh, okay. Oops. I try to make it smaller. Okay. So details. Okay. Oh, right. It took right to Sinbad. Nice. Nice. Okay. No, this is good. So that's a way to kind of get to the object and right click. Wait, once you know the name of the object, right click on your image and right click. Oh, okay. So if I right click, search object, got it, M16. Nice. Nice. No, this is good. Thanks. I think they have a slightly different workflow in Serial 1. What it'll be 1.4. But who knows when that'll come out? Like it's still under development. So this is handy. So yeah, if you know the object, or if you don't know the object with the PSF and Sinbad, you can figure it out. And if you do know the object, you can then right click and search for it. So that's handy. That's useful. So thanks for that, True Freedom. That was helpful. Helpful for pointing that out. Nice. Cool. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these programs, they have so much functionality that and there's different ways, different websites, and like the one I ended up using was Aladdin, and that was the one where I was they have a desktop app, but they also have like a web version, and this is the one where I looked up NGC 4216. And I mean, a lot of the different tools have the same kind of catalogs and image databases and stuff. And so yeah, here it is, and here's that mystery galaxy. And when you turn on some of them, some of the databases, they'll show you details, but like Sinbad didn't have anything here. But I don't know if it was the Gaia catalog. It was one of them. And I've had problems with this where sometimes it doesn't. Or was it the 2MASS one? Because some of these, they don't. And I've even had it where it wouldn't. I ended up having to reload it because like something failed internally and it didn't. It always picks a different target when you load it. So let me try this again. And if you do Sinbad, it should put like squares on the specific target or different targets in the image. But yeah, sometimes maybe there's something I'm doing wrong, but sometimes it ends up being a little finicky. Oh, okay, that did highlight some things, but over there, that does not help. Oh, it did also highlight there. Okay, so that is working. Sinbad does correctly identify this as NGC 4216, but it didn't identify anything there. So it was one of these other ones that eventually I tried, and it ended up when I clicked on it, it showed me like the redshift, which sometimes it doesn't even show the say redshift. It has like Z, so it's like the Z number, and then you have to go figure that out. Yeah, I've had. I think it was through the web interface. Oh, okay. Okay, see, look, it finally loaded. Sometimes maybe you have to be more zoomed in. But see, I clicked this, and I got, like, it just has a Gaia number. It doesn't have, like one of the other catalogs. And so you kind of look through all these different numbers. Was it this catalog where it had the... It wasn't. Was it this one? Or did I miss it? Did I go past it? Let me go back up to the top. Does it have Z or redshift? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was the 2MASS one. Unless I'm just totally missing it. But it has it. This stuff means something to astronomers, professional astronomers, but not it was hard even finding what some of these even meant. This, I don't think this was the one. Maybe it was the, was it the 2-mass one? Anyway, basically for one of them, it would show a square here, and then, yeah, see, this one didn't produce anything. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed the number. Because whatever it was like a 0.0 or 0.1. Anyway, basically, I got a redshift number, and then I was able to figure out that it was like 900 million light years away, or 800 million. Not finding it now. Wait, is redshift? No. Anyway, but yeah. Takes a little bit of detective work to try to even figure out some of this. Kind of interesting. But anyway, yeah. So that it was NGC 4216 that led me to this rabbit hole of identifying all the things. Oh, failed. So it tried to do NGC. It tried to do M. That target, I wasn't sure if it would even be able to see. I was trying to. Sorry, I'm bouncing around here. Where's the web interface? Oh, it's behind this monitor. I was trying to go look at M22, but I wasn't 100% sure if it would be visible. I guess since it failed, it isn't. So let me see if there's anything else for me to try tonight. So M22 was a fail. M20 succeeded. M16 succeeded. Let me see. Yeah, are you talking about the one that I was looking at? The 2-mass. Sorry, I'm like bouncing around. Aladdin light. Oh, is it 2-mass? 2-mass J12154918 plus 1311478. Okay. Okay. Oh, I don't have that image, but yeah. Sorry, I'm really, because this 2-mass survey should load, but again, I've had issues where it doesn't load. So it wasn't the Gaia survey. And like there's other 2-mass things. Let me look that up. 2-mass J12154918 plus 1311478. Yeah, sometimes this particular the web version. I also have like the desktop version, which is like a Java app, but that sometimes doesn't Like I have mixed luck with this. Sometimes it'll show stuff, sometimes it won't. Yeah, but anyway, it's kind of interesting, like where you just like see this random little little oblong thing, and it doesn't it I guess it makes me really appreciate how many things that uh they haven't fully mapped out, or they haven't, like they've automatically figured out the redshift for a lot of things, but there's a lot of things where they just haven't been studied because there's so many of them. Um, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So it's kind of a fun little thing. Um, Let me see if there's anything else I can image tonight from my. Okay. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, oh, look, it finally loaded. It finally loaded. This, I think it's specifically like, especially the Gaia and 2 mass ones on this Aladdin light often don't load, but it finally loaded. And yeah, that's exactly the number you had mentioned. J, the 1215. Yeah, that's the one. Well, or it's similar. And what was it? Does this actually have the Z number? I forget. But these, it's just, I forget which one it was, what number it was that where I found the redshift. But yeah, once you have the redshift, you can figure out what the object is, or how far away it is approximately. Um, but yeah, thanks for helping with the detective work on that. Appreciate that. But let me see what other things do we have that are closer. So at this hour, did I do M39? Did I figure if that's an open cluster? Okay, that is not visible. Oh wait, I'm at the wrong time. Okay, so that is visible. M39 should be well visible. It's an open cluster. M52 also visible. M22. The reason I'm picking these is because I'm trying to get as many Messier objects. M22 is a globular. Oh no, I tried M22 and it failed. So let me try M103. M103 should be visible. M32 is obstructed. M18. Okay. I don't know about that one. If I'm not able to see some of the other things down here and kind of that trench. M25. Yeah, those are all in the same area. So I'm not going to bother with those. But these other ones I should be able to do. So M39, M52, M103. Did I figure out M32? Okay, M103. Is M32 visible? Did I figure that out? M32 is, nope, no M32. It is definitely going to be obstructed. So at least I have 3. I'm going to quickly, and that might be the last things I do tonight. mostly because I don't run it automatically overnight. So this is done. So I'm gonna do a new schedule. Let's see, M39. Look it up. Yeah, and there's there's still things I need to do that I haven't been able to try yet. Like it can talk to Stellarium. There's a piece that I haven't set up that I need to set up on my Mac to test that out. Because yeah. So let's go M39 and then M52. The nice thing is if you're doing a bunch of targets and they're very similar, it's pretty quick to set up several things. Okay, and then M103. And I'll have 3 more Messier objects. And then I'll call it a night. Okay. Okay, submit. And that, just double checking. Yep, that all looks good, so I'll start. Yeah, so yeah, one thing I had talked to Wiley Sight and I were talking about doing the Messier Marathon using this, where you could kind of, and especially now that we have the ability to export and import schedules, you could come up with it all ahead of time. Figure out, because there's websites that will tell you the optimum order, because like twice a year or once a year in the spring, you can, in a single night, you can get every Messier object if you have an unobstructed horizon, I guess, or if the conditions are good. And so we figured, you could set it up all ahead of time and then just kind of kick it off and get every Messier object in one night. Now, granted, you wouldn't be able to spend much time on some of the objects. Like you wouldn't be able to do, half-hour exposure on some of the nebulas. But you could, I mean, those were all seen, the Messier objects were discovered with relatively modest telescopes. So you'd get something, even if you did only, a couple minute exposure, you'd at least see something. So that's encouraging. M39, it plate solved. So let's need to close out some of these. Eagle. I go to the supernova website just in the off chance that there's a new supernova that is worth looking for, but no. And the conditions aren't too bad, because like a lot of times you can't see stars on this all sky camera, but you actually can. So that's good. So the seeing isn't, the transparency isn't too bad tonight. Because, well, and plus it helps that the moon's kind of still below the horizon. So yeah, this is going to kind of run for a while. Let's see, what else? Oh, one thing I wanted to mention, I had meant to mention this earlier. Sometimes I run across kind of interesting I'm doing too much right now, but sometimes I run across these interesting YouTube videos having to do with astronomy, or like some new accessory or something. And I ran across, this is another YouTuber I have talked to. He posted this video of it's basically a third party solar filter that's it's based on like a on what do you call it, the Bader filter, which are really nice, high quality solar filters. And this company sells them with like a 3D printed dust cover and case, and so he posted some photos of a comparison with the stock solar filter and he did some of them, he processed, some he didn't. But I mean, it looks like you can see more detail um, in this Bader one, the one that's using a Bader filter, which isn't surprising because those are like some of the best ones. I mean, the Seestar filter is pretty good, um, all things considered, the stock filter. But yeah, he did a pretty thorough comparison. I'll post the I'll add it in the description too, but I thought I'd share that because I thought it was kind of cool, and might be worth taking a look at it, picking up one. If you do a lot of solar astronomy, yeah, it's kind of cool. You can see some extra detail in the sun. But yeah, that was kind of cool. Just kind of things you just run across. Let me see. So this is still running. And yeah, so M39. So it's going to be going for another 20, 30, 20, less than 30 minutes. Yeah, what else? What else did I have on my notes? I always try to have notes ahead of time, and then sometimes things go out the window, as it were. Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, let me have a sip. It's Diet Dr. Pepper. Well, it's not diet, it's zero, but it's cream soda. I growing up as a kid, I remember having cream soda. Yeah, so that's a really good point. Fractalite. Sorry, I try to pronounce people's handles correctly. So this is the problem. I normally, when I'm running Seestar ALP, I will try to view it. I'll bring up the Seestar app in my phone, on my phone, so then we can see the live stack happening. Now, you can't get the live stack. So, okay, so there's a couple different things. We can, if you look at, you can get to the Seestar, the file system on the Seestar live, and while it's taking the photo, so like right now we're doing M39, it is acquiring, it's loading these subframes. It's adding to this directory, but the stacked result isn't there yet. Now, I believe the Seestar is doing something in memory and sending it to the app, and we don't have that in the app. The only way at this moment I've seen without the app to have any kind of live view is unfortunately not in night sky mode. It's only in solar and scenery and moon mode. You can turn on, like, there's an RTSP server, and you can point a video streaming app at the Seestar and view the live video. But there's not currently there's not a way to view the live stack from the Seestar. That said, it's something people want. And I definitely want, and especially in a case like today where I wasn't able to get the app for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why, Maybe it would get fixed if I rebooted the Seestar, but I was standing right next to it, and I wasn't able. It was able to see the telescope through Wi-Fi. It was able to connect to the Bluetooth, connected to the Wi-Fi, but it couldn't connect to the telescope itself through the app for some reason. So definitely cases like today, it would be nice to be able to do that. Now, if I had a good solid fast wireless connection to the Seestar, you could run a desktop app and have it monitor this directory where the subframes are coming in, and then live stack it on your computer, without even paying attention to anything the Seestar is doing except just getting the subframes. But as far as like showing what the app sees, as far as the live stack, it doesn't currently support that. Because it's a little, I think it's a little trickier than it's a little trickier. I'll leave it at that. But it's definitely something I'd like to see. Yeah. Like I say, usually what I personally do whenever I've had these live streams, if you go look at one of my other live streams where I've done a live observing stream, especially recently, like months ago, I didn't have this SSC Seestar Alp. But the recent ones, I'll have Seestar Alp doing kind of what I've been showing here, but I also would flip to my phone. And I also actually have the app. I actually have the iPad app running on my laptop. But this wasn't able to connect either. It was very frustrating. Yeah. Oops. Sorry. I dismissed the message and then brought it back. Yeah, because like when I went and tried to connect, it was like, oh, yeah. So the trick is, I've had, when I first got the two Seestars, I found that I couldn't easily use both of them on the same network with the stock app. What I was able to do is I would run one in station mode where it was on my home Wi-Fi, the other had its own Wi-Fi, and I would switch my Wi-Fi back and forth between the two on my phone and then reconnect. And that was a huge hassle. And so what I've done on the recent live streams, the Seestar ALP had no problem controlling both on the same network. But the app, what I would do is I'd have the one on my phone connected to one of them, and then I'd have this app connected to the other one, which it's the iPad app basically, but it's running on my Mac. And that was the only way I could show a live preview from both of them, and have them both on the same network. It was very convoluted, which is another reason why I would love to have it built into Seestar ALP. But yeah, because Seestar ALP has no problem, because it isn't trying to do some kind of discovery, like you can hard code the IP address. Like if you have them on the same network, you can set them up with like a static IP, and then just kind of, like in mine, it, you can see, like I have static IPs on mine, so they're always, the one is always on .250 and the other is always on .251. And I set that up in my wireless, in my access point. I mean, because like if you just have one on a network, it'll be able to discover it, because by default it'll have a name, it'll be called Seestar, and it'll be like Seestar.local, because you can even see it in the configuration. Um, or maybe I deleted it, but the default is usually like seestar.local. And so yeah. Yeah, because because I tried to do two telescopes on the same network and live stream it. Of course, I don't do things easily, and so that has posed challenges. Um, Now, if you're doing what do you call it? If you're doing solar mode, it's really easy, because let me see if I can even bring that up without uh, I don't know if I can even bring it up since it's not connected. It's trying to connect. But basically, like, there was a setting, if you click on the telescope and then you go down to the bottom, it has a setting for RTSP. And so, which is just kind of like string like a URL, you get that, plug it into, I just used free software VLC, and I was able to pull up a live view of the of the sun, and I was able to live stream that. Worked fine. I mean, just having the app up on my computer. So that's easy. That's easy when you have, but unfortunately, the one people want to do mostly is night mode, gazing mode, and unfortunately, that little feature isn't enabled. So the app in the Seestar, the Seestar app and the Seestar have their own way of talking for the live stack. Yeah, yeah. It's something I've wanted to do for a while, or wanted to see for a while, but I'm particularly bugged by it tonight since I wasn't able to do my normal kind of workaround of or kind of to view it. So we'll see. Maybe someone will do it, because that would be awesome, especially if it was like on this screen. Oops, if it was on this screen where you could have like a little summary or like a little thumbnail, maybe, for more than one telescope, that would be kind of cool. But I don't know how much is going to be possible, because I think it's using some kind of binary protocol to talk between the app and the Seestar. Yeah. Yep. Unfortunately. Yeah. Is it still? Oh, yeah. This logging is just because I was doing stuff in the front end. Yeah. At some point, somebody will implement it. Hopefully. Oh, and the other thing is, if you want to run this app, the Seestar automation, some people are saying you should turn off automatic updates for your app, because the concern is that ZW will do an update of the app that'll update the firmware and it'll break this. It hasn't happened yet, but that's definitely been a concern. So I've personally turned off updates on my phone, and I go and manually update things, manual update the Seestar app when I've heard other people say it's okay. Because I don't want to lose the ability to be able to do this. Because they're adding new functionality, but I don't see that they'd be adding some of this functionality. Like they've talked about adding mosaics. The mosaic, there is mosaic functionality in the ASI Air, and so theoretically they should be able to do it without too much effort, but this does other things like being able to set up a full schedule that, and unless they do that and actually have it upload the schedule into the Seestar, you'd still have to have your phone talking to the Seestar. So yeah, we'll see. But definitely safety tip, turn off updates just in case if you're using this. Because I think that's been a concern. That happens a lot of times when you have something where people have created third-party tools or software to do things with it, and then the vendor just breaks everything. So I only did 10 minutes on M. Did it? Should be. Did it already go to M52 or no? I don't know. But should be getting close to going to the next target. But yeah, it's starting to get late. I think I might wrap up the live stream unless yeah. And like I say, I'll probably do another live stream on Wednesday. Because I think the weather's looking okay here. Let me see. I was like looking at astropspheric. Theoretically, tomorrow could have it, but this Wednesday looks much better. Yeah. 0% cloud cover. Thursday might actually be good too. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that would be great after as much rain as we've had recently. If we actually had a few days where it was clear. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. If you haven't liked the video, please do. It helps make this visible to other people who might be interested in this software. I know that wasn't purely the focus of it, but they might be interested to see it in action. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate it, and hope to see everybody. And one thing I need to do is make it more prominent. But I do have my own Discord server. Definitely welcome to join that. And but I think I'm starting to. It's late. I'm starting to get a little. Yeah, it's time to wrap it up. So thanks for joining, and have a good evening. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye. Will it work?